Entering Capitol Reef National Park, we are surrounded by large rock walls again in the lower Muley Twist Canyon, said to be so rough by Mormon pioneers that it could twist a mule. The canyon is deep, narrow, and winding. The rocks reflect the oranges, browns, and yellows, and at times it looks as though the rock is patterned like a zebra, with heavy pigments running down to the floor, creating stripes of color and contrast painted into the stone. I think the interesting drips come from the monsoon seasons over many decades, depositing the darker shades as the water and sand runs down the walls, leaving a permanent stain. We entered the park near the Burr Trail Switchbacks and will be in here for about a day and a half. Fortunately, the permits for camping here is really easy to get, as it really is a worthy place of spending a little extra time. Capitol Reef National Park is defined by the Waterpocket Fold, a massive geologic landform which extends for 100 miles or so, running north and south. It is a ripple in the earth, a buckle in the planet's surface, a large towering cliff which seems to come out of nowhere, jutting high into the sky and running as far in either direction as the eye can see. So naturally, while we are in the park, this is what we are following. We are hiking along the east side of the Waterpocket Fold. And of course, given its north-south direction, twisting canyons and prominent elevation profile, it is difficult to navigate across it to the east or west, and only a few roads have been made through because of this. And our hiking will be no different. We follow this feature for more than 20 miles, but eventually, we too will have to cross it. I like that this trail takes me to places that I may never have gone otherwise. In the case of Capitol Reef, the main road, the main visitor center, is something like 20 to 30 miles to the north of us, and we are far off in some remote corner of the park. Capitol Reef really is special though, as national parks go. There is no entrance fee, the permits were supremely easy to get, and then here we are, just out in the middle of nowhere. I think at some point or another in my life I would have taken a road trip to see the big 5 national parks of Utah, but I don't think I would have gotten the same appreciation of them as I have by being out here in them, passing through them, having to navigate their little corners and canyons and twists and turns, seeing not just the top 5 best things to do, but instead seeing every little bit of it, or at least as much as we can while on foot. I feel like via a car you can only do so much, and then while on a through hike you can only do so much. Most trails you're just walking this thin line of dirt for tens, hundreds, or thousands of miles, across a county, across a state, or across the country. You're seeing thousands of miles, but at the same time there's still so much we miss. But I'm sure, much like in the car, coming to these areas and experiencing these areas gives you a better idea of what you'd like to come do next time. The Hayduke and Utah, I think, is really special in that regard. There's so many opportunities for outdoor recreation here. From hiking to backpacking, pack rafting to whitewater rafting, canyoneering and rock climbing, Utah truly is a special, special place. And here, you see why a storm would be so dangerous in this area. Our path taking us through an incredibly narrow canyon where flash flooding is surely extremely common. The walls close in, and from the rain the past few days, we are at times walking through waist-deep water. Water which we cannot see the bottom of, full of silt and dirt. When stepping in these pools, we always hope that it won't be so deep, but at the same time, we are both prepared to swim if need be, to hold our packs above our heads and walk through it if it came to that. Fortunately, we got to experience this. As I said, if we were here just one day earlier, this area would have been completely impassable. It would have been entirely flooded and would have required more miles of swimming than is certainly feasible, or a high route bypass above this canyon. I'm very, very thankful that we got to see the Narrows, as it really was a spectacular little spot.
It's very deep.
Huh.
I'm cold. Very cold.
All good things must come to an end, and our time in this park is no different. Leaving the Narrows, we hike along following what seems like very old cattle trails, enjoying all of the wildflowers in bloom, and making our way to the exit of the park, up and over the Waterpocket Fold, a sheer rock wall, trusting our feet to hold on to the gritty sandstone and exit the park boundaries. It really has been wonderful here, but I think it's going to get even more wonderful over the next few days. I've heard a lot about this section to come, and I am very much so excited for it. So those are the Henrys off in the distance. That's where we were just a few days ago. Anyway, into all those canyons you can see, Tarantula Mesa, and then you can't really see it anymore, but now we're hiking up the Waterfold, which is the main feature of Capitol Reef National Park. It is pretty fascinating, just this one giant canyon. One giant wall on one side, and then these crazy rocks up the other side. Then over here you can see Lake Powell, and I think maybe the town of Bullfrog, somewhere around there. Not a place we really go. But yeah, it's been fun hiking up a Waterfold. I think we're at the top now. So back in Canyonlands National Park, we had one of Sprocket's favorite hiking days ever, while this section coming up is one of my favorite hiking days ever. We are about to enter Stevens Canyon on the Stevens-Baker Canyon alternate, a very, very significant alternate that deviates far away from the official Hayduke route, but which I think, obviously, is very much so worth the while.